I thought my heart had died with you, but then someone made it beat again, not because of love, but because of something more dangerous than love. And then one night, as I was about to turn away, he said, "You're not invisible, not to me." That was the moment I knew all boundaries were about to be erased. It's curious how the absence of sound can resonate more powerfully than any noise within a space. Since his departure from this world, the walls of our home resonate with a different timbre. His laughter has faded away. The echoes of dances in the hallways and the warmth of his presence now reside solely in the recesses of my memory. Before we delve further into the story, please like the video and subscribe. Thank you provides me with considerable assistance. Every night, I find myself sitting quietly on the edge of loneliness. The sheet clings to his form, and I feign that he has merely stepped away for a moment. Yet beneath the surface, I understand that grief is not a burden one can simply evade. It dissolves into your very bones until the weight of your heartbeat becomes a palpable burden. To my surprise, I found myself capable of feeling once more neither joy nor delight. Anticipation, not the kind of softness that leaves you momentarily breathless, and yet, in those hushed intervals, an unfamiliar essence began to awaken something within. A familiar presence dwells within me, one I have recognized for years, yet never in this manner. His eyes had transformed. Perhaps it was my own that had. It began with fleeting looks, not those hasty exchanges of mere acknowledgement. Yet something more subdued, more profound, the sensation that caresses your skin before it comes into view, I possessed. I once caught him observing me. No, not watching, but noticing, as if he were perceiving something beyond the mere reality laid out before him. He had evolved, not merely in height or age, yet he delved into his own essence, reaching out to someone who transcended the mere backdrop of my recollections. Yet it was transforming. A fragment of my current existence. As dawn broke, I stepped into the kitchen. He stood there, crafting coffee as sunlight danced gently across his face. As if it were meant to be. His hair had an untamed quality to it, shirt sleeves casually rolled up. And when he smiled, there was an ineffable quality. It halted me in my tracks. Was that all there was? Pause as well. Long appeared excessively warm, and yet silence reigned supreme. Nothing was required to be. He extended the mug towards me. As our fingers grazed each other, a jolt of electricity surged through me, causing my heart to momentarily falter. A mere flicker, yet within a heart that had long been shrouded in numbness. Months that shimmered resonated like thunder. I averted my gaze from his eyes, yet I was certain he had sensed it as well. Time flowed on, each silent moment accumulating like whispers in the air. Resembling volumes neatly arranged on a shelf, he would linger in doorways, extending offers of assistance with various tasks I found myself capable of managing without assistance. He would inquire about. Today unfolded like a canvas, each moment a brushstroke in the masterpiece of my life, and I would discover that I was revealing more than I had intended. His voice carried a gentle warmth, yet there exists another element, a subtle quiver lurking just below the facade. It was not inappropriate, it was not incorrect, and yet it felt as though one were standing perilously close to a flickering flame. soothing, simultaneously perilous and captivating. As the sun dipped below the horizon, we found ourselves seated on the porch, enveloped by the gentle embrace of the evening air. The breeze caressed gently, gently weaving through the trees. The air is infused with the delicate fragrance of jasmine and an essence that resembled recollection. Our conversations were few and far between. We simply sat next to each other, yet his hand lingered, tantalizingly near. If I were to shift just a fraction, it may brush against my own. I made a subtle shift. Our fingers remained apart, yet the distance that separated them grew electric. The allure was undeniable. The possibilities that linger in the air. He turned to me, deliberate and measured, as though trembling at the very instant. Could disappear in an instant if he were to make a sudden move. There has been a notable silence from you of late, he uttered. He inclined his head in acknowledgement. Everything still feels remarkably different. He gazed at me intently, his eyes lingering on mine for what felt like an eternity. Different does not always imply unsatisfactory. I wished to respond, yet I found myself unable to do so. His eyes locked onto mine, and within, I beheld all the unspoken words that lingered between us. His gaze remained unwavering, yet within it all, a certain gentleness lingered, a certain unguarded tenderness that beckons Madame to lean in closer, merely to ascertain the authenticity of the warmth. His absence lingers in the air, a haunting reminder of what once was. I murmured, and my voice faltered. He inched nearer. Keep your distance, just enough to create a sense of companionship in that space. He is missed by me as well, yet I perceive you, and you need not bear the weight of it all alone. A lump formed in my throat. I found it impossible to swallow, and for a fleeting instant I longed to lay my head upon his shoulder. I did not, yet the thought remained, echoing in the recesses of the mind. The ensuing weeks unfolded like a tender melody, echoing softly in the stillness of everyday existence. He commenced, presenting me with small tokens. Blooms plucked from the garden, the snacks I adore from the store, taking the initiative to repair and improve the home without prompting. As he stepped into the room, I became acutely aware of the way my heart responded. It was not guilt. It was not a matter of shame. It was quite an experience, more tender, similar to hope. Enveloped in uncertainty, on a serene afternoon, the rain fell heavily. Swiftly and with great speed, in the backyard, we found ourselves ensnared, attempting to gather the laundry. Prior to being drenched, we shared a laugh, wrapped in each other's embrace, our clothes soaked through. Strands of hair clung to our faces as time passed. We entered the space. We stood soaked and gasping for air. Our gazes met, a silent exchange unfolding between us. A fleeting connection lingered in the air between us, a silent force brimming with intensity. My garments adhered to my skin. His gaze held for a moment, stretching the boundaries of what was deemed appropriate. Yet it was not desire. Within them resided a deep yearning. The type that arises from restraint. It averted its gaze, feigning engagement with the laundry. He moved nearer, yet refrained from making contact, yet close enough for me to sense his warmth lingering just behind me. I remained still. Your beauty is striking. He uttered the word voice, soft and scarcely discernible amidst the patter of rain, stilled. My heart pounded like a drum. I was curious about the reason behind his words. I wished to inquire about the meaning behind his words. Yet I was aware at the very core, rotated gradually. His expression remained serene, yet his eyes were tempestuous. The struggle was evident before my eyes. There lies the struggle, amidst the realm of righteousness. And what truly existed, I apologize, he murmured softly. It was never my intention. Indeed, you certainly did. I mentioned earlier that I could restrain my impulses. He withdrew slightly, allowing me some distance, granting me the gift of time. You should know that you are not unseen, not in my view. That night, slumber eluded me. His words echoed repeatedly in my mind. I was not unseen. Not him. And in some inexplicable way, that held a significance greater than I was willing to acknowledge. The following day, I discovered him perched by the window, lost in the act of sketching. I was unaware that he possessed the talent for drawing. I inquired whether I might have a glimpse. He paused, contemplating, before finally flipping the book over. I was the one, not in a manner that is readily apparent. It transcended mere resemblance. It was a matter of emotion, the gentle arc of a shoulder, the path forward. A beam of light graced the contours of a face. He had captured the essence of how I felt in moments when love enveloped me, as though a soul had etched my tenderness into memory, yearning to preserve it in a sanctuary of care. I never claimed that anything was impossible, yet I found myself sitting beside him, drawing nearer this time, so near that our arms brushed against each other, and I chose to stay right there. Days merge seamlessly into nights. Every step draws us nearer to a threshold. Neither of us wished to venture across. Yet, neither of us could turn a blind eye. He transformed into my solace, my refuge. Perhaps I became the reason for his existence. To spend a single evening, the burden of silence had become unbearable. Do you believe it's inappropriate? I inquired, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper, a soft murmur. He glanced upward, taken aback. What is this? Whatever it is that remains unspoken. With a heavy breath, he let out a sigh. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Caring is not a flaw. There is no fault in experiencing emotions. Yet my intention is not to cause you pain or bewilderment. So much has been lost to you. I nodded, my throat constricted. Yet, I remain present. In that moment, I am truly alive. Once more, it is due to your influence. He pivoted toward me with deliberate slowness. Let us simply exist in this moment, side by side, without commitments or anticipations, simply existing in the moment. In that fleeting instant, the world seemed to hush once more. Yet on this occasion, not in sorrow. This moment, embraced in tranquility, the days unfolded with a sense of reverence that was unmistakable dialogue. He took his time with everything, and so did. Yet there was a sense of purpose in everything. Each gaze, each utterance, each moment of quiet between us carried a profound significance. We refrained from labeling it as love, yet, in all the subtle ways that held significance, it was blossoming between us like a bee navigating the crevices of our hearts. On certain evenings, we found ourselves in the kitchen, creating culinary delights side by side. He would stand by my side, extending his hand in assistance. He understood that I had no need to reach for spices that were already within my reach. Hovering close to my shoulder, lengthier than Cesare, and I would feign ignorance, even as with each fleeting moment, the heart quickens its rhythm. The kitchen transformed into our refuge, resonating with the clinking of utensils and the soft murmur of an unspoken presence. On a particular evening, as we busied ourselves in the kitchen, a spoon slipped from my grasp and fell to the floor. Our hands converged upon it simultaneously. We collided and time stood still. His fingers softly grazed against mine, like a whisper of ash, lifted it with care. For the first time, he remained close, not retreating. His touch remained, a whisper of warmth that hung in the air, gentle as an inquiry poised for a response. "You occupy my thoughts," he uttered. In an instant, it felt as though the words had been sealed away, waiting for the right moment to be unleashed. For what felt like an eternity, I gazed at him in astonishment, not in a manner that undermines the significance of what we've lost. He pressed on, yet in a manner that pays tribute to what remains to be discovered. My breath was momentarily suspended. His voice carried no hint of impropriety. Nothing but truth, merely a flicker of hope. I averted my gaze, filled with trepidation. In that meeting, his gaze could send my heart into a tumultuous dance, disrupting its steady rhythm. "This remains a mystery to me," I murmured. He advanced a fraction nearer. "It need not take shape just yet. I long to be close to you. Even if it remains just that, it is still sufficient." That evening, I found myself solitary in my chamber, gazing up at the ceiling. As I pondered his words, I found myself taken aback by his unexpected declaration. Yet, once it was spoken, I found it impossible to forget. The moment he stepped into the room, my body betrayed me in a way I could never forget, or how my soul gravitated toward his, unbidden. The seasons commenced their gradual transformation. The trees outside donned their autumn attire, draped in hues that echoed the slow, smoldering fire within me. We found ourselves sharing more moments together, no justifications required. Evening strolls through the neighborhood, exchanging literary treasures, listening to the past. Melodies linger softly in the stillness of the living room. The dwelling that had once seemed overly spacious for a single soul now brimmed with life once more. Yet it was a distinct sort of completeness. Soft restoration. On a languid afternoon, a neighbor made an unexpected visit. She cast a sidelong look at us huddled together, her brow arching in intrigue. Subsequently, she dispatched a message that was concise, incisive, and laced with a subtle air of disapproval. Her words were few, yet they carried weight. The meaning was unmistakable. I found myself captivated by her words. My chest constricts. The world remained oblivious. Perhaps it never would, yet that did not invalidate the emotions I experienced. Yet uncertainty crept in, much like a cold breeze seeping through a fissured pane. On that night, I found myself drifting away. I averted my eyes, maintaining the flow of our discussions. Concise, did he take notice? Naturally he did. Heel ways, observed. He discovered me in the garden the following day. Good morning, yanking at the stubborn weeds. That should not have been extracted. Have I done something wrong? He inquired gently. I shook my head, the weight of uncertainty silencing my words. He moved in closer. Why do you gaze at me as if I am a memory you wish to erase? I shifted my gaze in his direction. With a heart weighed down, it would certainly simplify matters if I were able to do so. He paused, silence enveloping the space around him. At last, when he spoke, his voice held a calm assurance. I refuse to be simple. I desire authenticity. And just as the walls stand resolute, I had begun the process of reconstruction. Once more, it has fallen apart. I advanced toward him, merely a touch, near enough to sense the heat that binds us. The sun was gently making its way through the clouds. The trees wove golden patterns across his skin. His gaze met mine. The manner in which an individual gazes upon a canvas, there exists a hesitation to make contact, brimming with wonder. Brimming with concern, I ponder. Fear gripped my heart as I whispered. He inclined his head in agreement. I find myself in the same position. Yet I would choose the fear of your company over the comfort of solitude. After months of solitude, I finally surrendered to the embrace of another, not through touch, but through the unwavering presence of someone who sought nothing beyond the simplicity of this shared moment. As the evening unfolded, as we lingered on the porch, he leaned in slightly and my shoulder grazed against his. I remained steadfast, refusing to withdraw. He did not either. The hush lingered, gentle and known. "Do you recall that evening when the rain fell?" inquired Hezmalad. "It occupies my thoughts constantly." I share that sentiment as well. I confess that it was the inaugural occasion. It experienced something once more. He faced me, his gaze probing into my own, and at that moment my gaze fell downward. Then I looked up at him. At this moment, I sense all that remains unspoken. Instead, he extended his hand with a deliberate slowness, softly tucking a wayward strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers whispered against my skin. Yet, my whole being responded as though he had reached into a realm beyond mere skin. The surroundings began to dissolve into the background. Only the present exists, devoid of past or future. At last, he rose and extended his hand toward mine. "Join me on this journey." I trailed behind him. The staircase led to the attic of the house. He had transformed the space, soft light strung from the beams, books stacked neatly beside a cozy chair, and a small table with tea already waiting. He picked up a notebook and said, "I've been working on something." He paused, a moment of uncertainty flickering across his face before he finally extended it toward me. "It revolves around you, around us. Not a narrative, merely fragments of time." As I cracked open the book, the words began to unfold before me. His words lacked refinement, yet they indeed were authentic, unfiltered feeling. Scrawled upon the paper, reflections on sorrow, on discovering elegance. In unforeseen corners, a tale unfolds of a woman who, with deliberate intent, revived a soul unaware of his own existence, in dire need of rescue. The book was gently closed, its pages whispering secrets as they met one another once more, heart quivering. "What is the reason for presenting this to me?" inquired. "For the reason that I wish to convey that your presence does not go unnoticed," he uttered, "not merely as an individual who experienced love in the past, but as one who remains deserving of being treasured." I raised my gaze to meet his, eyes brimming with unshed tears. "To ascend." Before I had the chance to utter a word, he spoke softly. "There is no obligation to do so. Feel free to express whatever you wish. I simply wanted to share this with you." I lingered for a moment, cradling the notebook against my heart. In that moment, I took an unexpected turn. I moved closer, encircling my arms around his waist. He tensed up, astounded, then surrendered to the embrace. We lingered in that moment, silence. The heart continues to speak. In the realm of language, that night was beyond reach. I found myself wide awake in the stillness of my bed, gazing up at the ceiling once more. Yet, on this occasion, silence did not linger as a ghost in my mind. The notion of someone lingering downstairs captivated my mind, someone who had transformed into something greater than just a presence, beyond mere friendship. A soul who lingered with unwavering patience, allowing my heart to navigate its journey back to wholeness. In the days that follow, a subtle change occurred. No longer did we need to conceal ourselves, not originating from, at the very least, one another. The world would remain oblivious, yet inside the confines, concerning our abode, a realm was brought into existence where the essence of healing manifested in the sound of laughter once more, where sorrow might linger softly in the shadows. As life persisted in its relentless march, unfolding in myriad ways around it, one morning, as we savored our tea in the atish, gazed at me with a subtle smile. "May I pose a question to you?" he uttered. "Certainly, if..." Life would have unfolded in a myriad of ways, had fate chosen a different course for us. Have you considered? Would we have still found each other? I gazed at him, my heart brimming with emotion. It seems that certain connections manage to forge their own path, regardless of the journey taken. He inclined his head with deliberation, extending a hand toward me. This time I chose not to